Good morning. My name's Janice Laine, and this is,
Susan Rose, and I'm president of the quilt group.
and we're here in the sewing room that's located in Clubhouse 3, Room A. Okay, it's at the end of the hall. You can find us if you wander around a little bit. And I'm going to go around with Susan, and we're going to see all the neat things that we have here in the sewing room. So let's start down here, Susan.
Okay.
Tell us why we have a mirror that looks like this. What does that do?
Well, actually, some of the people cut things and put things together there or here, and you can look in the mirror and see how it looks.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a good way. And even, I guess there are people probably come in who live in Leisure World who construct clothes and make drapes and do all this stuff, and they can, see how things fit. I don't know if you can see like you can see.
Okay. Can anybody come in and use these machines?
Anybody who lives in Leisure World.
Okay.
Anybody
And how
can.
about joining the quilting club?
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah.
can join the quilting club?
Yeah.
Aren't there some prerequisites?
Well, we would like people to be able to know how to use a sewing machine, how to sew a little bit, and then we can go from there. We did offer a class last year and from, how to pick out material, how to get started and all that good stuff, but we've actually gotten overcrowded. So we have some people who live outside, and we are not going to encourage that this year, a lot of new people, because this is not our regular year, but during the regular year in the morning on Wednesday, this is packed.
How many
So-
members do you have altogether?
For as far as I know, we'll have to see how many show up in 2 weeks. We have over 60.
Wow.
So it's a
Yeah,
big
so
group.
to go around
Yeah,
this
it's a big
room.
group.
Okay. And one of the members is showing us her box with all these goodies in it.
Well, this is the box from the group, the club,
Uh-huh.
the quilting group, and we have equipment for the sewing machine. So there are feet for the sewing machine, there are feet holders, screws. We keep everything. If you wanted to make a quilt, all you would have to do is bring in material. We have almost everything else you would need to make a quilt.
This looks like
Thread.
different kinds of feet. So how many different kinds of feet are there?
Well, for our purposes, we just use one. There's a regular, we call it a regular foot.
Uh-huh.
I guess there might be a name. And then we use a foot. This is a 1/4-inch foot, and this is what most quilters use most of the time because our seams are sewn with a 1/4 inch.
Okay.
Kit.
Oh, here's,
Yeah, she
okay.
has her own
Well,
kit.
come here. What's your name? What's your name?
Oh, Sandy Haruki.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, I just brought this over for
Right,
her.
and what do you have in your kit?
Oh, all kinds of stuff.
Like,
Well, I have some nice little glasses that light up in case I'm doing some handwork.
oh, wow,
Just
look
push
at
this little
those.
button and light it up somehow. Switch it on. Oh, there we go.
Interviewing us for TV.
So then we have a
Okay.
little light so we can.
Okay, oh, look at that. Can you see that, Bill? See the light?
So when
Okay.
you're doing close work, it would help. Just little things like that, and then
She has rulers,
to
threaders, needles.
scissors, all kinds of stuff. Thread.
Okay, this is for everybody. This is for the general population of Leisure World. There are books with patterns in them. We have an instruction booklet on the sewing machine. They have irons that they can use. And then, come on in, then we have cabinets that we lock up. Okay, and these are our cabinets. That cabinet holds all of our supplies. There are stands to hold certain kinds of thread. There are different kinds of styles of cones for the thread. So there are stands that hold the thread. We have irons in there. Geez, I don't know.
Yeah, you
what's
got some
all
of
there.
everything in
Spray
there.
is some of everything. And
Let's-
then we have another cabinet. We have a lot of people who come in and donate fabric to us.
Oh.
So we have this, it's still locked. This cabinet over here has a lot of the pieces of fabric that people have donated. And we do a lot of charity work. That's for our charity work.
Charities do you give quilts to?
Right now, we're giving to about 3 or 4 charities. One of them is Precious Life in Los Alamitos. We've been giving to Orangewood Children's Foundation, We have one called Living Well, which is more for unwed mothers and for the babies. And who else did we donate to this time?
Well, let's take a look down here. We're going to walk down this way and see all of the machines. See all of the sewing machines that are in here. How many sewing machines do
We
you
have
have
13
altogether?
sewing machines, and it's a Janome product. It's just a standard sewing machine. And that's why I said, hopefully people know the basics of a sewing machine, how to install
Yeah.
the needle, how to, put the feet on,
Right.
whatever, if they want to use it.
So there's 13 of them, and
everybody's working on something else. Like I said, some people make tote bags. This is a quilt. Most of us do quilts. And I don't know, what are you working on?
okay, what is your name?
Mary.
And Mary, what are you working on
I'm
here?
working on a Raggedy Ann for my great-grandchild that's coming in December.
Oh, how neat.
So this is going to all come together, and I have to make her little dress, make her bloomers.
Okay, all right.
But here's her little apron.
How cute.
Wow, look what you got
Isn't that
done. How
darling?
cute.
Okay,
So
now,
Raggedy Ann says I love you.
okay,
And Mary comes with her sister, who's 95 years old, and Tana, the sister, lives in Leisure World and still comes and crochets and has made charity pieces. Our older members who don't sew much anymore sit out there and do some knitting and some crocheting for our charity work.
tell me about these tables. Why are they so high? And
Well, we have the the shorter table, and then these are counter height tables, which makes it easier, as you notice, to pin things together, to sew. When I put a quilt together, the 3 layers of a quilt, these tables are just much easier to work on. And this is a cork top, so you can stick pins in them. We have actually, you can bring the iron over if you need to press a piece. It's really a wonderful thing. And like I said, all this equipment, the boards, the rulers, the cutters, we supply to our people in our group, and they pay for that out of our dues. That's
what do you call
the-
this kind of a cutter?
This is called a rotary cutter, and this is the standard size. It's a 45 millimeter, there's a 60 millimeter, there's a tiny one, just depending on the kind of work that you do. There's a blade, and so that's what we do. We get material, cut it up to sew it back together.
And tell me about these boards. me
Okay,
just move
these
this over
are
a little bit.
rotary cutting mats, and they're made out of a material, I'm not even sure exactly how they're made,
Yeah.
because you can cut on them, and they last a long time, they don't cut up. They're made, to withstand the.
So this ruler, what does this ruler do?
Okay, well, a lot of things, like you can see, you cut straight, so
Uh-huh.
this is good for cutting straight. We have all kinds of different shape rulers, triangles. There are things that you call fussy cut if you want to cut out like part of a pattern on a piece of material. If you cut like a round shape, or what we call an applique. An applique is a piece that you would set on top of the material. You might cut that out with a scissors. And we have, like I said, shorter rulers, different shapes, triangular rulers, all kinds of different styles of rulers.
You have to be kind of a mathematician, don't you?
Yeah, it sort of, after a while, I guess some of it sort of comes automatic, but you're right, you have to figure out the size. Like right now, the quilt that I'm working on, I'm going to sew a border on, and I have to figure out how to put all the segments together and have it the right length.
Show me, I see you've got your kit over here.
I have a pattern that I follow that I would have to dig out. I wasn't prepared, but anyway, and this will make, then there's going to be a piece in the middle that's like this, so this is going to look like an arrow. So this part is called it. So there's like 3 components to this quilt. There was the center. I did bring that. This is the center of the quilt, and now I'm working on the borders.
Oh, pretty. Now, do you get the kit and all those colors are together, or do you
No,
go
I
and
picked
you?
this all out. I went to a fabric store. We have a couple of local fabric stores. We don't have too many quilt shops in the neighborhood anymore, but we have a couple of local fabric stores. And I went and just picked out colors and threw them together and hoped for the best.
Tell everybody what a stash is.
Okay, a lot of us quilters, and just like us in the closet here, have fabric at home that you can just pull out of the cupboard or the drawer or the cabinet, and that's your fabric stash. And some of them have a bit of there's a fabric stash.
Stuff that I pulled out of my stash.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Dee McConnell.
And Dee, can you tell us, what are you doing?
Well, I'm making little quilt pieces, and I took all this material from my stash, which I had at home, and I cut these pieces out, and now I'm just putting together so they will end up like this. I have to pin them together, and then once I get them pinned together, then I have to sew around here by hand or by machine, whichever I decide to do. And then I put them together, you know, like this, and then they make a quilt. You just, you know, you put them together thusly, and they end up making a big quilt. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of cutting and putting together to get those little pieces.
Oh, I was going to ask you from the start, when you get your idea of what you're going to do, until it's finished, about how long does it take to do a fully completed quilt?
I couldn't tell you how long. Some quilts take longer than others. Some of us just, it might take a full year to do a quilt. It just depends on how. This one will take quite a while to put together. This might be, I've had it for quite a while, but it might take a year to put all this together by the time you get everything done.
I would think then you need a lot of patience.
Yes, you do. A lot of patience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Can you tell us what we're looking at right now?
I don't, is this a Lone Star? I think it is. Does she have any? She had some that were sewn together, maybe in the bag. Let me see. Here's some that are done, and these will go to here. These are Lone Stars. Each one is called a Lone Star, and just the size that they are. I'm not sure how many that she has that will go in, you know, into a quilt, and she's getting that one ready to add the background. And then I don't know in between the squares if there's another. There might be a contrasting piece of material. There might not. I'm not sure what her plan is.
Well, you're allowed a lot of creativity, aren't you?
Yeah, and the color, and you can pick the design. I picked a pattern, and the pattern that I picked out was in those colors, but I went and picked out all my own fabrics. And Jovita is really good at just taking fabrics and making up a pattern and throwing them together and
getting it. Well, tell me, are some patterns easier to do than others?
oh, sure.
What would you say is the easiest pattern, and what is the most difficult?
Well, I suppose if you just cut up squares and sewed the squares together, that would probably be the easiest, wouldn't you think? Yeah, I would think that would be the easiest. And then some of these patterns where you have to match points, and you know, they're round objects, curved piecing, and that's probably the more difficult things to do.
Oh, hi. What's your name?
Sandy.
And can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Well, I'm doing this. I am actually doing this quilt. So I decided that I wanted these to be fluffy, these little squares. So I decided to put a backing on this. And then I took some batting and I cut it, and so I'm just putting it on each side, and I have to do this back side because I need something to sew it together.
What type of material are you using?
This is cotton. This is plain cotton, and this is Kona cloth, which is really cheap. We use it for pattern making and things like that.
And the batting, is that polyester?
Polyester. You can get cotton or polyester. This is warmer. It doesn't breathe. So if you want something that's really warm, Well, you got two things. One is real warm that doesn't breathe. That's the polyester. Or the cotton it's warm, but it's thin, breathes, and it doesn't poof.
And when it's completed, what will you be doing with the quilt?
Well, I think I'm going to put it in my granddaughter's bedroom, or my grandchildren's bedroom at my house.
Oh, they're going to be very happy with that. About how long do you think it'll take you to finish?
Well, it just depends on how much time I can spend on it. Normally, it would take probably 6 months for me. 6 to 8 months.
Wow, you must have patience.
Yeah, well, it's just cutting and just taking the time. I don't sew as much as a lot of people. I'm somewhat busy sometimes, so.
When you ladies are here together, are you able to talk to one another and enjoy each other's company?
Oh, yakety yak. A lot of times it's a social visit. We get nothing done. We're just talking, and then all of a sudden it's noon.
That makes the time fly.
It flies fast.
Hi, what's your name?
My name's Glory Glattman, and I started with the club when I retired from working for the U.S. Customs Service. And I'm working on a baby quilt. Some people come in and they donate fabric, and then we just try and make some kind of a design out of it and piece it together from small, sections. And I made long strips, and then I cut them in 5.5-inch squares and sewed them together. And now I'm just trying to come up with a design. And a lot of times we lay them out here on the table, and then you can look in the mirror and look back at it and see if it makes a pattern or if it looks all right or something doesn't look right to you. But that's it.
And on these quilts, and I noticed that you could have them facing, some are facing this way, some are turning to your left, some are turning to your right, some are going south. You have quite an option of how you want to put the quilts. They don't actually all have to look symmetrical or anything.
No, they don't. Anything goes on these quilts. It's up to the sewer how you want it to end up. And blankets get turned upside down and all around, so whatever way you're looking at it is going to be the right way.
Can I ask you, we were talking about this cutting board a little earlier. If there's a lot of you in here, do you take turns? Do you wait your turn to get a chance to get to the board, and how do you do that?
Yeah, everybody's really considerate. Sometimes they'll say, well, I've got a big quilt I want to lay out. Can I use the table? And people will pack up and move. Or we have tables out front where we have our meetings, where we can put 2 or 3 tables together and also use that. And everybody's in the same boat. We all have a accomplishment that we want to get to, and it's for everybody to use, so you have to be considerate of your fellow sewers.
Wonderful. Hi, what's your name?
My name is May Givens.
Hi, May, and can you tell us what you're doing right now?
Well, right now I'm making a quilt for my granddaughter who's getting married next month. And I'm a novice quilter because I started last November.
Wow.
And this is I think my 5th quilt so far. I'm making them for my grandchildren and for my children. So this is called a square in a square. And what I'm placing on now are sashings. And I sort of outlined it with the black. And it's going to be a wedding quilt. So.
Interesting. Speaking of wedding quilts, I heard one very popular quilt. It's called a wedding ring. What is that?
Well, a wedding ring is very complicated, and as a novice, I can't really explain it to you because,
Okay, that's fine.
because I haven't made one yet, but I would love to make one. But at this point, I haven't made one, so I'm getting there. This particular quilting has really been like a lifesaver for me because I retired 2 years ago, so now I'm enjoying.
Oh, hi, what's your name?
My name's Linda Ryan.
Hi, Linda, and first of all, I just have to ask, did you make this?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I had a friend give me the fabric, and so I made a bag, and it's got some pockets, and it's got a little key fob, and it's got all those fun things in
That
it.
is so neat.
And then I wanted to show you another quilt. I'm a hand quilter.
Oh, a hand
this
quilt.
is,
Oh, wow, look at this.
This is a quilt I'm quilting. And you can see the hand quilting.
Oh, I'm not sure. What do you mean by hand quilting?
Well, instead of quilting on the machine, I quilt by hand. Here's my needle and thread. And if you look closely, you can see the little hand stitching.
Can you get a picture of that, Janice?
Let me see if I can
Can you get a
get
picture of
close
that?
enough to see the,
On the
stitches.
navy.
yeah.
Yeah. And this quilt was all cut out on the AccuCutter.
What is an AccuCutter?
Well, hang on a minute and let me get the key.
Okay. We're on our way. We're going to find out an AccuCutter. Oh, look, we're going behind locked doors. Let's see what's in here. She's taking something out. My gosh. Look at that. What is this?
Well, this is something that accurately cuts small pieces of fabric. I need to get a few other things.
Okay. Look at this. Be interesting to see this.
Okay, this is what is called a die. And what you do is, if I can get it out of here, you layer your fabric on the die. So you layer a piece of fabric on the die. You have it go through the machine, and it presses down really hard. Okay? And then you come out with these accurately cut little tiny pieces. And they are so accurately cut that they go together so exactly that you get unbelievable results.
Interesting.
So when you saw those Lone Stars over there on the table, let me get one.
Okay. Look at this.
You can see how little the pieces are and how accurately they go together with all the points matching because they're so accurately cut.
And Janice, can you see the back of it, what it looks like? But, interesting.
And that's how this quilt was cut out. It was cut out with half square triangles. But it is so accurately cut that if you'll notice all the little points on the little triangles are perfect. In other words, I'm not cutting things off. Things match perfectly all the way around.
They do. How long does it take just to make this one square Lone Star?
Oh, probably about 2 hours.
Oh, that's pretty fast.
How many squares do you need altogether?
For this particular quilt, I'll need 9. But you got to understand, I don't usually sit and do one square. You know, the phone rings and I got to do something for lunch or, you know. So, but it takes like 2.5 hours to do one square. It's not fast. It takes a while.
And what will you be doing with the finished quilt?
Oh, I don't know yet. That's what the finished quilt will look like.
Oh. Do you use a kit? Is this?
No, this is all fabric that I've accumulated over the years. I've been quilting for 38 years, so
Fantastic.
yeah. So it's,
Oh, from your stash.
yes. But thank you.
Well, thank you. Very interesting. We went out here in the main lobby of the clubhouse, and these ladies are doing something a little different. Let's find out what they're doing. Hi, can you tell me your name?
I'm Ellen Kopp.
Hi, Ellen, and can you tell me, what are you doing?
I'm doing a baby quilt cover. It's something that I can carry around. And I have a quilt on a quilt frame in my apartment, and I do that whenever I can, or whenever I think about it.
Are you doing this by hand then, rather than sewing machine?
Yes, it's all by hand. Yes.
And do you and the other ladies generally come out here and do it together?
Yes.
Have a lot of fun talking?
Oh yes, very much.
Oh.
We see each other once a week, every Wednesday morning,
Oh, that sounds fun.
And we enjoy each other's company.
Great.
A lot.
Okay, let's talk to the lady next to you. And, you know, I don't know the difference, but I don't think this is quilting. What are you doing?
I'm crocheting,
Crocheting.
and when you crochet, you use just the one needle, whereas knitting, you use two needles.
Interesting. And are you making a blanket or
Making
a
baby's-
cover?
Making a baby's Afghan.
A baby's Afghan. Interesting. And what's your name?
Tana Akardi.
And how long is it going to take you to finish that?
We don't time it. We just work on it, and when we finish, we finish.
You got all the time in the world.
I'm 96. I could.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hey, it's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi. What's your name?
Shizu Oki.
Hi, and what are you doing?
I'm making a charity. I'm donating this to charity.
From the little cars and everything, I'm going to guess it might be for a little boy, perhaps?
Yeah. Whoever inherits it, I don't know. We just sow and give, So this is my project.
And how long have you been doing this?
This a couple of weeks. Cutting out my little cars and sewing them on strips.
Is it a lot of fun being here with all the other ladies?
Oh yes, especially all these.
I bet you have a lot of good times.
Oh, we have a lot of. We all stay home all the time, so we meet once a week here. My son takes care of me, and I come here to be with these people.
This is a wonderful activity in Leisure World.
Oh, it is. It's one of the